Hello, Montgomery County. My name is Brandon Langer, and I'm the Program Administrator for Instructional Technology at MCIU. I work in the Office of Professional Learning, and this is a series we have running called Talking EdTech with MCIU, where we get to sit down with providers, vendors, product makers in the space of educational technology, talk about the great things going on in the space. One thing that COVID has taught us, it's that this is not going away. This is an area that we can continue to develop. And there are some exciting products and innovations coming out of this very challenging time. One of which that is newer to me in the last couple of months is a product called ClickView. And they've agreed to sit down with me today. Ann and Mike are here from ClickView to give us kind of a rundown of what ClickView is, talk through a special offering that we have running for Pennsylvania school districts throughout this spring of 2022. And just in general, talk about some of the exciting things they're doing in the areas of content, because this is definitely a need for a lot of districts, not just through virtual platforms outside of the building, but also how we're going to leverage virtual environments heading forward, even within our walls, and make sure teachers have access to high quality content. So welcome, Ann, welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining us today to kind of talk about your platform, what you have to offer, and I'm going to hand it off to Ann to introduce herself and then to Mike.
Thank you, Brandon. My name is Ann Feldkamp, and I'm the Director of Customer Success here at ClickView. I'm really thrilled to talk with you all about ClickView and what we're doing. Really excited about it. I've been in education technology for over 15 years and started with ClickView this year. This is our launch year here in the US, and couldn't be more excited about what we're doing and providing for teachers here in the US, and especially the offer that we have for IUs. So really excited to dig in a bit deeper with this and share ClickView with you all today. I'll pass it over to our Managing Director, Mike.
Thanks, Ann, and Brandon, thanks so much, mate, for having us here. It's a real pleasure to be sharing this with you. So my name's Mike.Honiball. I'm the Managing Director of ClickView here in the US, and I've been with ClickView just with Ann for the last 7 months. So we actually launched the ClickView platform stateside back in May 2021. And although I'm an Aussie, I've lived in the US for 6 years now. So I moved to New York back in 2015 to start another Australian business migration, which was a tutoring company based out of New York, and got started with ClickView this past year when we launched in the States. I'm really excited to be sharing this with you because obviously, well, it's not obvious yet, but one of the things that we're thrilled to offer all Pennsylvania districts is that ClickView is completely free for the next 6 months. So if you like any of the features that you see in the platform, if you think any of the content is going to be useful for your classroom or for your teachers, then it's available right now to start deploying. And the other thing as well is that if your school or your district or your IU is interested, we're looking to also offer some really significant discounts for all the IUs this over the next couple of years as well. So I'd love to show you, Brandon, if it's all right, if I can jump in and give a bit of a top and tail about what ClickView is, what we do, and we can go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just if this is your first time watching an episode with us, I always put all the contact information and all of that in the descriptions and then at the end of the video. So we'll make sure that if you really like what you see and you want to reach out, you can always reach out to me. But Mike and Ann's, we'll make sure that you can get in touch with them to learn more. But yeah, Mike, let's hop into it and take a look.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm going to share my screen so everyone can see exactly what we're talking about. But in a nutshell, if we were to sort of summarize ClickView in just a couple of sentences, we're an educational video platform. So the main thrust of what we do is centered around two things. So firstly, we're a content solution for teachers. So one of the things that ClickView has been doing for the last 20 years, because we've been a producer of educational video content for basically the last 20 years. We were founded as a producer of educational content. One of our main focuses is producing very high quality educational video. So as well as producing content, and we're one of the few video platforms out there that are still producing large amounts of content each month. We also license content from very high quality producers. So we've got large production partners like the BBC, but we also partner with smaller local producers that are doing some really innovative things in the educational video space, like Makematic, which is based in the US, and they've got some phenomenal video series that we add to our platform. So on the content side, we're very focused on providing a quality over quantity solution. So instead of pumping hundreds of hours of repurposed or quick to produce video into the platform. We're very deliberate about only providing content that's recently produced. It's very high quality and produced with a teacher and student in mind. So it's very much produced for the classroom. And what you'll find in ClickView is that it's primarily going to be short form video. In fact, almost all of it is short form, between 3 and 5 minutes in length. And our whole thesis behind educational video is that it's got to be a real standout moment in a lesson. You know, we don't want to just put a video on to kill time. We want teachers to be able to use video in a very deliberate and targeted way. So when you're going through the ClickView platform, you'll find video content that is short form, high impact, and very engaging for students. Another thing I should just mention about our content is that it's comprehensive. So we're a K through 12 solution, in fact, pre-K through 12. So you'll find short form videos that are covering all subject areas. We've got something for all grade levels. We also have a very large professional development library as well that's primarily centered around blended learning and strategies for using video more effectively in the classroom. So the content is kind of a real showcase point of our platform. And one of the things I just want to show you is how you can navigate through ClickView to find video. So one of the easiest ways is just to go and explore the topics. So we've got a full taxonomy that allows teachers to refine their way down to get those high impact videos for their lessons. So you can, I mean, this example is set up as an elementary school account. So you can see the teacher can refine down by grade and they can explore different topics that way to find those videos. The other thing that you can do is it's very easy to search just using ClickView's comprehensive search tool. So if you want to run a video for your students on bees and pollination, finding a high impact video in the platform is typically going to take you, under 5 seconds, because it's a very refined and curated selection of video. When you're looking for content in ClickView, obviously the real hero of every module is going to be the video itself. That's kind of what ClickView is really built around. But the other thing that I really wanted to showcase about the platform is that we don't just have videos. So what we always will do is try to build a context of teacher resources around the video. So you'll find there are things like teacher lesson plans, worksheets, and so on for students to use as they watch the video, whether it's in the classroom or at home. And the other thing that you'll find with ClickView is we have a ton of interactive videos as well. So these are, as many of your viewers will be familiar with, they're basically versions of the video that have formative assessment questions that pop up underneath. So when the students are watching the video, there'll be questions that pop up to engage them and get them to interact. So ClickView produces these interactive versions of the videos with the videos that we produce, but we'll also allow teachers to create their own interactive videos. So if you find a video that you want to share, but you want to create a version that is unique to your students' needs, what you can do is just turn it into an interactive, whether it's a quiz that happens at the end or something that pops up as the students are watching. And one of the things that teachers love about ClickView is that when it comes to interactives, you've got more options for questions than you'll find anywhere else. So there's 6 different types of questions that teachers can add over the video, and they can fully customize these, pre-grade them, and so on. So it just gives the teachers a lot of flexibility when it comes to creating interactive video experiences for their students.
And Mike, can I just interject 1 second? Because something I think that you highlighted here that is just in that brief demo, the biggest thing that teachers are struggling with right now is time. We're being pulled out of classrooms. There are a shortage of subs. We're having to cover each other. There's a lot of that, and there's no indication on the horizon that that's going to get any easier here in the short run. Time is of the essence, and I think one of the symptoms. My wife's a teacher. Obviously, I'm an EdTech leader. Teachers were struggling to find good content. That was the first step. But then the second step was all the other things that you just showed us in a matter of minutes, which was, if I finally find the video I want, it might take me 5 to 10 in other platforms or other places. But if I finally find it, then I got to go build the actual units, the actual lessons, the actual worksheets, or I have to build all of it. Here, even if I'm only going to use 1 or 2 of your built-in resources here, the lift has been taken off of that piece. Okay, I have that done. Now I need to go focus on my instruction, which is where we want teachers focusing anyway, not on optimizing searches and being a content filter if they don't have to. And I think that's the thing. When I mentioned before that this was fairly new to me, meeting you late in the fall last year, That was the thing that jumped off the page first as I got in here and dove around, was how quick and how easy it was to find, as you said, not just vetted, but solid content that I can use and deploy fairly quickly.
100%. That's the whole thrust of what we do. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Having high quality content is one thing. I mean, the truth is, high quality content is everywhere. You'll you know, if you spend enough time on YouTube, you're eventually going to find that video that's perfect for your lesson. Obviously, there are always trade-offs with using open source solutions like that, of course. But being able to find the video quickly, but then not have to, you know, spend another 30, 40, 50 minutes customizing it, trimming it, you know, having it, really making it appropriate for your class. I mean, one of the things we invest a lot of our time in as a company is we're really trying to do as much of that heavy lifting for the teachers as possible. So you'll find the video quickly, but then you'll also find those supporting tools and resources so you can get off the, you know, get it into the classroom that minute, instead of it being something that's going to be, you know, something you've got to prepare 45 minutes for the day before. So I think when you jump into the platform, that's definitely one of the things you'll see. It's very quick to find the content and then deploy the content as well. And I just wanted to quickly show you what it looks like to share with ClickView, because this is a question we get quite a lot. We integrate with all of the major LMSs. So, you know, for example, this login has been set up to be configured with Google Classroom and Teams. So, you know, if you wanted to share this video directly to your students in Google Classroom, it's very easy to do that. You know, you can just send it straight to them, you know, determine how you want to share it with them. We also have some great I guess, sort of intra LMS integrations. So for example, in Teams, you can access the full platform, you know, basically all of the features you see here within the LMS environment. So it just makes it that much easier for teachers without them having to even leave the LMS to access all of these features.
Yeah, and Mike, I like how you kind of started to talking about where the company started 20 years ago as a producer, right? Clearly, most districts, we were still hardwired and using, you know, the old colored iMacs around that time. So we didn't have LMS distribution. So clearly, this is a company and a platform that has evolved over time. Where, you know, what are the most recent things? I'm sure LMSs have been a huge part of the needs and requirements throughout the pandemic. But what is ClickView doing now to advance your platform even further to the next level? Or what are some of those new things that you guys have recently deployed that take it that one step further?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually two things that we're really excited about. I'll take the first one, which is really some additional platform features that we've really started to beef up over the last 18-24 months in response to the massive shift towards blended and flipped learning. And then the other part of the equation is also the content piece, because you're absolutely right. I mean, we are a content producer as well as a video platform, and Anne's got a very extensive background in content curation and production. So I'll have Anne speak to that part. But when it comes to the new developments and things we're excited about on the platform front, one of the big requests that we were receiving from our customers over the last 18 months has been, how do we get more oversight over what's happening when I share a video with my students? Or from an administrative perspective, how do I know what videos are actually hitting the mark with students? You know, which ones can be used more efficiently? Which ones should we be looking to acquire more of and use more of? And one of the things that we're very excited about is the release of our new analytics suite for interactive video. And this is something that you really won't see in any other platforms to the degree of detail that it goes into with ClickView Interactives. So to give you a bit of a high-level overview, every time a teacher shares an interactive video with their class in ClickView, and that's true of whether it's a video that they've found off the shelf, an interactive that's ready to go, whether it's one that they've created from a video in our curated library, or even if it's a video that the teachers have imported or uploaded, you know, maybe it's a recording of one of their lessons that they've turned into an interactive video. All of those interactives come with a full analytics suite for teachers to use. And what that does is it allows teachers to see, you know, really below the hood, what's happening on the other side of an interactive video share. So I can see if my students are engaged, if they're watching the video, how well they're doing with the formative assessment questions and so on. And so what this looks like is this dashboard that you can see here. So this is a video that was shared from our digital literacy series, which is a very popular series we've just released. And you can see here that it was shared with 37 students. The dashboard is going to give the teacher some insights like who are the top performing students in terms of the formative assessment questions that were overlaid. It will flag students that might need a bit of extra support. And it'll also give you some insights like what was the most difficult question of those formative assessment questions that you assigned with that group of students. You can also refine or drill down. So if you just want to look, for example, at a subgroup of students, maybe you've got a differentiated pod within your class, the blue group, you can refine all of this data down. It's going to recalculate it for that particular group of students. But one of the things that we love about this new feature is that it gives teachers the ability to drill down on different parameters. So you can rank all of the students in a group that you're looking based on how they performed with the actual questions. But one of the other features that's very popular, particularly when you've got teachers that are assigning these videos asynchronously, is our engagement dashboard. So this allows teachers to look at how engaged were students when the video was being viewed. And we use whether a student is skipping or watching a video or rewatching a section of the video as a really useful indicator as to their level of engagement. So if they're just constantly trying to skip between the questions, that's going to indicate to you that they're not buying it. They're not interested. They just want to get through as quickly as possible. But if they're taking a bit longer to watch, or even if they're rewatching sections, that's a good indicator that they are engaged with that content. So what this allows you to do with every video is you can drill down based on how engaged the students were. So you can see these students up here were doing quite a lot of skipping. And so the teacher knows that if there's an important conversation point in tomorrow's lesson that was covered in this first third of the video, Keith's in a bit of trouble. I already know the night before he's probably not going to be able to participate. So that's a useful conversation to have. But what you can also do is aggregate all of this data. So you can see across the 37 students you shared the video with, how was the engagement overall? So if there was a big dip in this section, a lot of students were skipping, it's going to give you that overall feedback. So the teacher can jump over there and see what was happening at that part of the video. So I know that that's something that I can either cut out because maybe they already knew that content. And to your point earlier, Brandon, I mean, that's really useful if you have a 5-minute video, but you don't have a lot of time, and your next lesson, maybe you can cut it down to 2 minutes. So it's useful to see that data to economize, but also if you're a teacher that's uploading a lot of your own content, and I know in your IU, you've got a lot of very innovative flipped and blended teachers who are very proficient at flipped and blended learning. They're producing a lot of their own content, they're uploading it. This allows them to see across 30, 100, 200 students, where is my content hitting the mark and where is my content not? And that gives the flipped teacher a lot of insights as to how they can improve their own content, both for their own benefit, but also helping their students become more engaged. So this is very intuitive, very easy to use, and we're thrilled to be introducing it because it adds a lot of insight that just wasn't there previously when videos were being shared.
But I think it also, I think it also gives, it might give some clarity as to how students are performing on tasks later in a lesson, or maybe even later in a unit. Why are we not doing why did everyone miss this question on this more summative type quiz, or this, even later, we're like, I thought we covered this, and you can go back and look at a heat map like this to see, that was the area of the video where this was talked about. And there, we like you said, we deal with it in our virtual learning space with our own Montgomery virtual program, but others where it's like going back and looking at how people are engaging. This is another data point. It's not something you're going to go write in a report card somewhere. It helps inform your instruction. And I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. And Brandon, one of the things I think you'll find too, and I've heard from a lot of teachers, is sometimes when we hear, oh, check the analytics, it seems in some cases can be an overwhelming task of having to pull together or migrate. But I think what we're finding is that our analytics section is just a really easy at a glance view. We can see quite quickly how students are doing. That engagement is so important, especially for the teacher that might be using this in a flipped capacity. I know I was at a district recently and they were talking about teaching an upcoming lesson on the Civil War. And we all know we have some students that they have read so many books on the Civil War. They're coming to class ready to talk about that. And some students that don't. And what I love about the medium of video and the engagement that ClickView content has is it gives the opportunity for teachers to use that in that flipped capacity where students can come to class with conversation points, with some information to talk about a topic that is being discovered. So I do really feel like there's just a lot of that engagement factor happens in so many ways, especially in 2022 now, whether or not it's in class or out of class. But no matter the case, the teacher can see that. They can see the students that are either really interested in the topic or didn't have time to do the activity, and really transition their instruction to make sure that all of those students are able to learn successfully and get the most out of that lesson. To talk a little bit about the content that's coming up, and I see Mike playing this title on growth mindset, one of my personal favorites. This is one of those ones, I think, in 2022, the start of a new year. This is great for all of us to watch, adults alike. Really love this particular title, but it speaks to maybe what's coming new and what's coming next from ClickView on the content side. So, we cover all subject and grade levels, producing a lot of our own content. And I think that is such a key aspect of what ClickView, is doing, is really trying to engage and create thoughtful content that really meets educational needs. This is for classroom, for curriculum needs. So, a lot of our pedagogical drivers are stemmed around the 5 E's of engaging with content, exploring, explaining, elaborate, and then giving the opportunity to evaluate what we're learning. So that's really at the core of how we're creating our content. And what's exciting is because we have a production team, we are addressing all of these topics, whether or not it's something in a socially emotional lens or cryptocurrency, but this is all coming at our teachers and students from a 2022 lens. And I think that's a really key aspect of the content, is because this has been curated, and speaking to what you mentioned in the beginning, Brandon, teachers can come to the platform. And our goal, and what I think we really thrive on, is because we are all a group of former educators or of subject matter experts at hand, we're making sure that that educator, when they do come to a resource, it is something that is trusted, supported, and fully integrated into their lesson. And so we don't want to create an experience where a teacher or even a student is coming to a video and feeling like, well, what do I do now? We want to provide that integration into the learning, into their lesson. And so every 6 weeks, ClickView releases new content. Our last content release was in December, and there were over 400 titles that were added. And when I say titles, individual videos that were added to the platform. So we're really actively adding and producing more content. And so I think one of the important things to know about ClickView is that, the library is just really up and coming and changing and really responsive to teachers' needs. And so there's topics that we still don't know will be hot topics yet for 2022. And I feel really confident, especially knowing the educational space, that ClickView will be at the forefront of producing that content and releasing it for teachers.
Yeah, and as Mike's clicking through here, just to stand out, again, I was talking about teachers' pain of looking for things. That you can see the interface, just to call it out, administrators, the interface really reflects what you find in a Netflix and Amazon Prime, and HBO Max. How we look for video in our private lives is how you look for video in this platform. It's mirroring that in a way. I know there's probably subtle differences, but I just think that's important, because having to dig for things through folders, through other ways of organizing, isn't how we normally look for video, and mirroring that is definitely helpful. So I think the team has done a great job on that front as well, Anne.
Oh, that's great to hear. And that's exactly our goal. I mean, one of the things that I spend a lot of time on is engagement. And I am incredibly thrilled to see that when we open up ClickView for a district, especially with all the integrations we have, whether or not it's a single sign-on with Azure or Google, or even something that we're doing with ClassLink or Clever, seeing the usage stats and how much students are just attracted to the content. They see the app, they click on it, and they are, getting, they're kind of sucked into all this great content instantly. And I don't think anyone could complain that we, I was really happy to see, I will say, over Christmas break, all the students that were just kind of, pinging in and checking out video. And I think that for me, whether or not it's my educational lens or even as a parent, I was like, oh, that is great time spent online. Yeah, you go learn about some of these positive behavior management strategies, or this is a professional development title, but yeah, lots of great content, meaningful time that can be spent on the platform from a student point of view. So yeah, definitely attractive for us as educators, but great that it is so attractive to students as well and easy for them to use.
Yep. And again, you see enough of those things that you're used to seeing even in other platforms, but you get rid of some of the noise, not the least of which advertisements. I believe there's no ads in this platform, correct?
Correct. Oh, correct.
Yeah, and that's such a, I mean, it seems like such a minor thing, but the time we're spending watching ads even sometimes it's just silly, and it's not necessary and sometimes not appropriate. So I just think like I said, it's really well laid out. It's familiar enough that it mirrors what we're doing in other aspects, but really putting up those safe barriers that we want without putting up the wrong barriers to access. So I think that's great. I think we want to definitely hit this offer that's kind of going on this year of 2022 in spring. Mike or Ann, I don't know who wants to talk about it, but just kind of a little bit of background and what next steps someone could take to partake in that.
Yeah, sure thing. So just to give a little bit of context as well, the reason why ClickView is free for all districts in Pennsylvania this year is we actually launched in partnership with Microsoft. And one of the aspects of that relationship is they really wanted to make ClickView a resource that was free to all of their partners. And of course, the IUs are all major partners of the Microsoft education team. So basically, we've got 6 months of completely free access. So if you are a school or a district in Pennsylvania and you want to access ClickView, even if it's just for your class, please reach out to us. I know Brandon, you'll post the information on in the show notes, but basically we can set it up so we have individual teacher accounts. We can switch on single sign-on if you want to make it available to all of your schools and teachers as well. And yeah, let us know if you're interested. We can get it done, that day, or if you want to meet with us and we can do a more thorough demo, we're more than happy to do that for you as well. But yeah, basically completely free, ready to go right now if you want to access it. And Brandon, one thing I did just want to make a note on, because we did speak about this last year. I think it's just important to mention as well, from just quickly circling back to the content piece, ClickView remakes content after 5 years. So one of the things that is really unique about the platform is our content team is relentless in making sure that everything is cutting edge and current. So it's very rare you'll find a video that's older than that 5-year mark. And that's something I don't think we mentioned a bit earlier, but it's just really important to note. So you'll get very recently produced content as the norm within ClickView. But yeah, completely free, ready to go right now.
Yeah, Mike, when you said that to me in the fall, I remember thinking back to sitting in elementary class watching a film strip in a music class, and it would do, and the thing would, you have to change the slide or whatever. And I remember thinking like, wow, that was like 25 years old then, and how, wow, 5-year-old content, and especially, post COVID, post all of this, and even really post iPhone, iPad. There's times where I was in the classroom as a teacher having to say, you have to understand before I play this video, there was no iPhone, and we'd all have a laugh about it. But I think it bears note of how things have advanced and how quickly, not the information itself has advanced, but the world has evolved. It's great that you guys are doing that as well. Anything else you want to share? Again, I really appreciate both of you hopping on today and both introducing the platform, talking about this great offer. But anything that we need to know about ClickView before we sign off today?
There's one other thing I wanted to mention, and that is we can set up a custom library for an IU or a district. So what that basically means is we can have a fully customized taxonomy that's unique to your school or district or IU needs. So this is actually one that we set up for IU 13. And it means that the administrator of the ClickView account can fully curate custom libraries. So IU 13 has a professional development library that they've set up for all of their districts. And you can import your own content, you can curate content from our library, and it's a great way just to organize specific libraries within your school or district community. And you've got full control over it. So you can have district or school-owned content appearing next to search results from the ClickView library, and you can add your own custom tags and so on. So if you've got a library resources manager who's really keen on making their own custom experience, it's very easy to do that within ClickView. So just wanted to mention that was another feature we have available as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I see closed caption. Is every video closed captioned?
Almost.
Almost
everything will be fully closed captions, we expect by the end of the spring. So, and we're also looking to have full closed captioning with English and Spanish captions as well as part of that update.
Even better. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a big part of our equity drive to make it as accessible as possible. But yeah, you can expect that at the end of the spring.
when I saw it in the fall, I knew we needed to set up a time to talk. I know it's a new partnership, even with the IU system, and a great offer. But I just wanted to get this captured and be able to distribute it out. So thank you both for sitting down today, kind of talking through the platform a little bit. We'll make sure everybody watching this and make sure that you'll see on the screen the contact details for how to get going, how to reach out to Mike, get your instance set up and that kind of a thing. If you have any questions about the IU partnership, if we want to try to do this as a group in Montgomery County, I'm happy to lead that charge. But once again, Ann and Mike, thanks for joining me, and I wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll be in touch here headed in. If nothing else, we'll see each other at Pete and C.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everybody.